trillion, right? I mean, 4.5 million businesses is a ton of businesses. And one of the things that I've consistently said is, look, as many people want to get into, home care services or, retirement communities from a real estate perspective and other healthcare services, because people keep talking about baby boomers retiring. I'm like, yeah, that's great. And if you're already in that business, then you should continue in that. But if you're similar to me, right, and you grew up and people said, hey, get a great education, to get the best grades you can and then join the best company you can. And if you make six figures, then like your life will be perfect, right? And for those of us that were blessed to kind of climb this corporate ladder, typically you climb it and then you get all the way to the top and you realize like, holy crap, this ladder was actually up against the wrong wall the whole time. This is an opportunity, and you can call Brendan, you can hit him up on LinkedIn. I'm volunteering that people flood your inbox at this point. Because what you need to do is you need to begin having conversations about ownership and how can you make the transition into ownership? How can you take that ladder that you had on this corporate wall and move it onto the wall of ownership? Because there is significantly more power, more freedom. And frankly, just to tie it in, right? When you think about the person that you can look up to over the next 10 years, that is the way that you do it, right? That is how you become that person. Move yourself into a position of ownership, and you will not regret it. So I am having a blast and continuing to do it. As Brendan said, we've known each other for a long time. And so my dreams have continued to evolve, kind of in this process, but it's been a lot of fun and it's amazing. And you've been a great partner kind of throughout this time. And frankly, when was it? I called you like the summer of 2017, right? So just emphasis for everybody else. If you're not ready to buy a business today, please trust and believe when he says community, we are building community of, experts, right? We're building community of investors. We're building communities of businesses that provide services for portfolio companies, and, for those who are interested, come and join the community. If we've run across a business later that you want to buy, then, I mean, that's my testimony, right? Like 2017 and 2020, when we came across this business and eventually closed on it, that's not 3 days, that's 3 years.
Well, and you and I've obviously seen your progress for many years, and I'm always just amazed at how well you stay in contact. You're just an open book, and so that's been wonderful. But I agree with you that it really does take time. I mean, sometimes we'll talk to business owners for a long time, explain about the process, and sometimes it'll be 2, 3, 4 years before they call up and say, okay, I'm finally I'm ready to do something, and who will I work with? How does this happen? And like in your scenario, you just jump right in there, and with 2 owners that had owned the business for a long time. I don't know, it was like 20, 30 years, and and it's a process, right? And it takes somebody with your personality and long-term outlook to because it's these, but anyways, but it really the goal here is like I mentioned earlier, I was given this opportunity at the time that I didn't fully appreciate. I just thought that's the way the world worked. I thought you worked hard and you picked up the phone and you called somebody and say, I want to, these guys are helping me buy a business. And I thought that's the way the world worked. I suddenly realized that it's probably not the way generally I got really lucky, and those are the people that I look up to, the people that help me do this. And so that's really our goal is to get many of these. And Donnie, look, I don't want to, there's what I think is so neat about it is it really, there's no lose, the people that are selling their company get a fair value and they often roll and, potentially make a big, our investors have gotten very well, very well paid, I believe, and still some work ahead, with some of the companies we own. But really what drives the outcome is making sure that the people that are running the companies have a real fair, kind of life-altering, share of the upside, and that's really, and then hopefully if we catch them young enough like you that you could, that this is something that could run for a very long time. So and you can teach it to 75 people too. So.
Oh man, yeah, I am. I mean, I am being a lot more intentional just about sharing my story and talking through that, and while I have the luxury of having you on the phone, um, let's not just skip over this, because I think that, folks are going to be impressed that, not only are we partners, but when people learn that, I bought my first business, you talked about buying your first business, in your late 20s. And I think for folks who know about it, we can just kind of quickly just glaze over that process. But I mean, can you break it down just once again, just in a very simple way? If somebody, probably multiple people right now are asking themselves, yeah, that's great, but how the hell do you buy a business? And like, what does that even mean? What does it mean?
Yeah, and it's funny when I was the advice I was we were literally like at a Chicago White Sox game, and I was mooning and crying, and they just said get in the game. If you're really talking about this, got to get in the game,
Mhm.
and that means different things to different people. Maybe just picking up the phone and having a conversation with us or a mentor, or just literally start looking into kind of what makes sense. And if it takes you,
Mhm.
there's I'm stunned by this, but some of the younger people you've introduced me to, there's lots of these ETA, entrepreneurship through acquisition
Mhm.
websites, and there's these search funds and so forth. And there's many more resources than back in the late
Sure.
80s, in the mid 90s when I was playing around with it. And I don't know, but I don't think they had the internet then.
Yeah.
But I just think you got to get the car in motion. What is it? Even God can't steer a parked car. So it's like it's a you got to get that's all I say is you just got to start learning and learning and learning and pick up the phone, call some people. Most people that have done this like you or me,
Yeah.
we're happy to talk to people.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. And I know Ann is going to be listening to this and all that, but we have to like tweet out or whatever. Like even God can't steer a parked car. That is that is may go down as one of the greatest quotes from the
I
Only Dream
stole it.
Big
I
podcast. That
stole it.
is
I don't know. I got it from
fantastic.
somebody else.
It's
I
all
got
right. It's fantastic. I'm gonna tweet that like as soon as we get off. So that is fantastic. Yeah, but taking action, right? So
yeah.
one of the things I like to say is, faith is like an action word, right? And
Hmm.
so, as we're talking about dreaming big or anything else, there's a proverb that says, "You have faith, and I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds." And so, just encouraging folks again, pick up that person, pick up the phone, call that person. In a funny way, as I continue to share stories with folks, it's one of those things that there are so many businesses, man. There's so many small businesses as you talk about the lower middle market. It's almost transformed my vision to kind of like the Matrix. I think about the Matrix and like Neo goes in, what is it, red or blue pill, and then you
Yeah.
take this, and then all of a sudden everything you look at, you're like, there's a small business behind that. Like
Yeah.
somebody owns that. It's not just the I'm up in the Pacific Northwest right now in Northern California, and it's not just the taco stand, right? It's not just the taqueria. It's like I see these random yeah yeah, let's just say towers like in parking lots that are like moving or protecting people from like moving over like a hill. And I'm like, somebody had to install those. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
there's
Right.
random porta potties, right? Like I know that there's businesses that literally just roll up porta potty businesses, right? Like it's just
Yeah. Right.
unbelievable the entrepreneurs that exist, the lives that they've been able to create, for folks and a bunch of different places. And so the one thing which I'd love for you to validate this morning, so that people don't think I'm crazy, but this is my statement: there is no shortage of capital. There is no shortage of opportunity. The biggest shortage and gap is talent.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about, your viewpoint on that, and then also, frankly, just part of your vision for ScaleCo once again, and being able to fill that gap of that
Yeah.
third area.
No, Donnie, I think you always much more articulate than I am. I think that you nailed it perfectly. The bottleneck, the gating issue to all this is the people, and the people to go in and run these companies, or it's always people. I think I also would ask you to, and this is something that I never fully understood until I was, until we started owning businesses, or until some of my friends, who are in some of my forum groups own these businesses. And what I'll flip it around is, I'll ask you to put your mindset of a business owner, somebody that's owned a business for 20, 30 years, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's supported their family. It's, let's say it's 5 million in revenue, making $1 million of free cash flow. These people have been big, influential people in their communities, and they've got probably a really great retirement, and it's been a really good thing. But they've got to a spot where they want to probably sell it, or they have to sell it because of health, or they want to move somewhere or whatever. And they're looking for a great match too. What they want is somebody like you to step in and continue to do what they were going to do. And if you can paint a picture of growth and a picture of keeping their business solid and keeping it, they're looking for you. I mean, they want you. Now ideally they want to make sure that you can write at least a check, that they, because this is a big part of their life, right? But they're looking for you, and so it's not a one-way street. I mean, this is and there's so many conversations I have where people would say to me, like my friends that own businesses are like, if I only had somebody that could come in, that I trusted, that could write a little bit of a check, that I knew my business would continue.
Yeah.
I would sell. And so it really is finding that perfect match that makes it so exciting. And so again, it's, I think often it's like, we're looking at it from the entrepreneur side, but there's, like you said, there's I don't know, hundreds of thousands of businesses that probably will.
That's the Exit Institute, man. 4.5 million businesses. So
right.
So we let them do the research. We just quote it.
Right.
but I appreciate the reframe, right? I mean, when you think about something like, buying someone's business, I think so many people, probably, and thank you for kind of unlocking that perspective for folks, because I think a lot of people, are probably like, man, am I annoying these people from calling them, because it can become a trap, right? Like in a crazy way, owning your own business, and once you switch over and you're no longer an individual contributor, but you're a business owner, some of these businesses have become lifestyle businesses, right? And so
most of them.
You're so plugged in, and it's such a critical aspect. It becomes such a critical aspect of your lifestyle. You almost feel trapped at some point. And so how else are you going to kind of maintain legacy, end up with some sort of, waterfall event, if you will, or a cash event that kind of, catapults you into, retirement, while still understanding that the legacy and stuff that you've built is solidified for, in our case, right? Our business is 75 years old. And we're looking to set it up for another 75. I mean, succession planning is something that just does not exist within most of these businesses.
With most of them, and it's just by design, right? I mean, because there's a book, actually it's pure fluke. That's where I was, No Man's Land, which Doug Tatum.
I think that was the first book that you recommended to me years ago.
Yeah, so. Doug Tatum. Yeah, it just basically explains that these small businesses are in they're in a spot where that they're making good money, and to really hit that next stage, they've got to make some changes. But to make those changes, you're almost you're betting most of that income on it. And if you're when we got into PSP with you, we obviously were prepared and ready to try to take it beyond the kind of lifestyle business. And that's obviously the only reason I got you to you were willing to take the gamble, right? Is because it had to be something bigger, right? So and that's the and it really is it's a wonderful thing. I liken our business to playing on a high school or college, sports team, where you really get to establish a plan, you get to chase it, and it can be a little more, I was Division III, so it could be a lot more lucrative, when I'm not saying that Division I guys are better, or make a whole lot more, they do.
Yeah.
But anyways, it really is a lot of fun.